On this episode of Nerdy Romantics Podcast, we're continuing our discussion of Star Wars, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We'll be talking about characters we loved, including Rotta the Hutt, and characters that we may not even be sure of where they are going or why they are there. We'll talk a little more about pacing and story structure. We will definitely give this one a star rating. And we're also going to talk about Easter eggs that surprised us and Easter eggs that we thought were really cool from this movie. So, as with the first part of this review, there will be spoilers of The Mandalorian and Grogu. So, spoiler alert! Stay tuned and discuss with us. This is the Nerdy Romantics Podcast, and I'm your host, Y.M. Nelson.
I know we usually talk about Easter eggs and stuff at the end.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And so.
sorry. We usually talk about Easter eggs at the end.
Oh, go ahead.
But the Easter.
No, go ahead.
Did anybody else get the feeling that that was like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride? You guys ever been on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland? And when you first get onto the boat and you are going through the swamp, there's a cabin and there's a figure that sits at the edge of the cabin. And they rock back and forth really slowly. I felt like that was the way that character was introduced. Sorry.
Okay.
That was
Okay, I didn't think of it like that.
Yes. That it felt like that.
But it was giving me vibes of
I was like, man.
the Empire Strikes Back. So when he, when Yoda was actually, he had in the swamp and he made his little thing. I was like, it looks like a bigger, it's a smaller version of the little hut he had when Luke was Luke came in and Luke had to bend down in it. But this one he made, close to Mandalorian size. Not quite. He got a few feet.
Right. He was like, I can't keep going. Boop,
that
boop,
was
boop.
so cute.
Boop.
He was trying to cover him with those branches. He was like, I'm tired. And I think that was a cute little nod to Yoda and where he's really from and that kind of thing. And it's not that I didn't appreciate it.
It was.
I just felt like it was very long. I felt like it was very long. But it was poignant and it was touching. And I was concerned about his little self until he figured out how to steal food. And but I feel like the pacing right there was, I feel like they took advantage of the fact that I was already there. Like, I was waiting for the end. And so I think that's just one of the places where I feel like, I do feel like almost that is going to end up in a cut version somewhere, right? Like it's going to be a season 4. Because there were all these places where it felt like, in the getaway scene, when...
Rotta.
When they're getting the cars together, and Rotta goes and gets the first car, like I honestly felt like I was in a commercial break till he came back by. I was like, what is happening? So I feel like that some of the choices were potentially for future usage, and I feel like that or to Stacey's original point, like trying to get the runtime long enough to feel like it was worth you sitting there. And so I think some of those choices, I feel like, took away from the potential for a longer battle scene somewhere else because we were trying to be poignant. I mean, they stayed in that house waiting for that man to come in there and get them for God knows how long, and Grogu watched the man for 2 minutes, and I was like, we get it. But never mind, I was already there. So I feel like that's part of it, is that the pacing, I don't think ever picked up past TV show pace. Like, I don't think it ever... The cage match probably was the most, like, high energy scenes, and then at the end. But I'm gonna be honest, even when Sigourney came in with the troops, I wanted them to get that faster.
Right.
The building was imploding. Yeah. Like I was like, are they gonna? I mean, I know it's a will they make it moment, but I mean, I had the pace of the whole group was concerning. Like, does this not look like an emergency? Do we not feel urgent? But shout out to Sigourney Weaver, because this is the first time she's been in an alien movie where she did not have to be mutilated.
I was sure
she just had to.
She
just had to roll on in and save it.
I was sure that it was gonna turn. Not that the Mandalorian had already met the guy. I thought she was gonna be one of the bad guys.
Yeah, because she's a big name actor. You're like, something's made. She's going to do something major because of it. Like, oh, it's got to go on. Something major is going to happen. It's like, nah, she was just there. She's just in another franchise.
She just had to have a cameo.
She just got to show up.
I know.
Her
part was more like a cameo.
Yeah, she wanted some Disney movie. Disney money.
It was.
Well, she's already. Is it Avatar, Disney?
And again, she didn't have to be traumatized.
I don't want to be traumatized. I just need some Disney money. Like, just let me show my face, please.
Right. She didn't have to be.
She showed up. She did 3 days worth of work, and good on her.
She didn't get
collected that shit.
She didn't get.
Bring on the next Avatar.
Right?
Exactly. She deserves that.
She does.
Exactly. She deserves that because
she sure has.
She has been through a lot in space, and I was glad to see that she didn't have to go through any space trauma this time around. But she was slow even when she was delivering information. I was like,
her character was very.
Man, he got somewhere to go. Like, how long is this?
I'm thinking she's kind of like a general kind of thing or a commander kind of thing. And for her character to be that, she was very like, you're super chill, lady. Like, you're like, this is a vacation. But it's not.
It is from Avatar.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that's part of what made it feel TV show to me, is that part. It's just a pacing, except for, I think that Grogu had and Anzellans had the best comedic timing and the best pacing, because everybody else, even the evil dude coming to get Mando, him telling his story, I was like, you know what, I don't care why I no longer am concerned. I do not care that you're a bounty hunter. I do not care that you work for the Hutts. I no longer care, because your delivery, he walks slow.
Yeah, he moves slow, but he reminded me of a Western villain. You know, back in the day, Westerns, like, okay, I'm just not a swashbuckler, like a gunslinger.
Like Wild West.
Gunslinger, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I give you that. A gunslinger, okay. Yeah, one slip. I give it to you. He did remind me.
You watch that, they all slow.
You know what? What all of
maybe it's because he was heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe he was heavy, because he had a lot with him.
Is that actually falls into place. The whole Mando TV show does this.
It's a Star Western.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a slow Western, and then he engages with some people that don't have anything to do with his main goal. Like, you know, when he went to, I don't remember what that place was, with the Marshal in season 2, and the Marshal actually had Boba Fett's armor, and they were like, listen, I will give you this armor back if you kill this big old dragon looking thing. And that didn't have anything to do with the main story. Mando trying to get Grogu to see Ahsoka, to see the Jedis, you know, to get him to the Jedis. So, you know, that was just some random side plot, but we got to see Mando do his thing, right? You know, so it felt, a lot of these kind of side plots and things felt very much TV showish, just like you're saying, Marcy. It felt, and the pace felt that way too, because the episodes are an hour long. Well, almost an hour long. They're like 40 something minutes, and they vary, but because it's streaming, so they can do whatever they want. But they're about an hour long. So, you have to have that kind of sort of slower pace to generate 8 episodes, or 8 episodes. And it felt very much like that, but I'm like, y'all, pick it up. This is a movie. This is not no 8 episodes, and I am not on my couch and, can pause this and get up and, get some more popcorn. Like, come on. I totally agree that while the part where Mando was poisoned or whatever and Grogu was trying to get him back, I totally agree that was too long. And it abruptly slowed down the mounting, because they had just been in this whole thing with the Hutts, and they were running out, and everybody's after them, and Mando can't get into the little ship, and it's like, okay, we need to still have the tension. It needs to still kind of ramp up. But when he started to go down with that, with that poison thing, I was like, oh no. At that moment, it slowed down, and it didn't pick back up because we're sitting here looking at Grogu being nurturing and cute, and I'm like, as much as I love this, not for a movie.
I do think it was a missed opportunity, because there could have been a scene with Imbo, who's the bounty hunter, Western, gunslinger kind of guy.
Yeah.
There could have been a scene with him trying, getting his orders, or figuring out who does he work for? Is somebody paying him to play to hunt down the Mandalorian, or what is it that's happening there? Not that we would necessarily see that person's face or what have you. Like, it can definitely be a mystery, but we could have like gone over to something else. We could have gone into what was happening with Sigourney Weaver and what was happening at the base, and what they were kind of thinking and dealing with, and why this guy Coin was so important, and is Coin doing something else? What is Coin up to that he is such a bad guy? And I think that was also a missed opportunity, because they say Coin is this bad guy. We've never heard of him. He's never been mentioned before.
Right, because we don't know nothing he's saying.
Nothing.
Where he came from or what he's doing.
Exactly. And so Marcy, when you were talking about that, I was gonna say there's no, and he has no backstory, so you didn't miss anything, because unless it's something that I haven't watched, he has no backstory. So Jen's right. We could have actually gone into a little bit more with him to understand why he was such a bad guy, and to understand why he sang like a bird. Because we didn't even see him sing like a bird.
He didn't say anything. What was it? What were we trying to get? Yeah.
We didn't know what he gave. Like,
what did he do?
Exactly. What did he do? And also, so the guy on the porch. So Jen, the guy on the porch.
No,
he have a backstory?
He just living in the swamp.
He lives on the planet.
So that was completely bizarre. I would have liked a little backstory for why he was sitting out there in the whatever. He could have told Grogu a story while he was trying to steal food. Like, I think there were missed moments where we just didn't, where we saw things happen, but with
we
no
could have gotten
kind of clear reasoning,
and it could have picked up the pace. Yes.
Where we could have, because there was a lot of silence.
Go ahead.
Or exactly, like I would have.
Well, when he was running, when the Mandalorian was running away, and he was running away, and I think the twins said release the so and so, and they were releasing those things in the water, and I was like, where are they? After what happened to them?
What happened to them?
They were released to the water, and then were they going to go on land? Were they going to do anything? I mean, I thought there was going to be at least something where after he's covered, he's he's hitting them. They were going to be trying to sneak around, and he's going to see some of his powers or see what he's done to defeat them. Like, nah, it would
have been cool to see Grogu show him how to
get some water and something. It didn't do any of that. Just getting water for him.
Right.
I mean, that was it.
And why does this man?
Well, I mean, I just understand why, because he
in the middle of what was
I didn't really need that because he lived there.
Right, because he lives there. But I'm saying, why are you out there? Right, but why? I feel like there was opportunity.
I think they could have given some more for him. I mean, I understand, because the planet is not necessarily the Hutt's planet; it's just where they're located. Mm-hmm. So there are gonna be people who live there who had nothing to do with the Hutts. I understand that, but you could have had some background of why I'm going to help this random green thing when I know the Hutts have just come to me about something. Why I'm going to help him, and be like,
right. Why am I enemy of the Hutt? Exactly. Why am I enemy of the Hutts that's going to help the opposition? Why is what the Western thing? Why does he not? Why don't I rise? Why doesn't he? Why does he just walk away? Like, why? What was their dynamic? Why was he? Who is he that he could do that when the dude came on the porch? Like, I was just so confused. There are places where I wish that there had been more, and places where I wish there had been less. And I don't know if an extended cut will help, but I think maybe the point is to get us interested in another Star Wars movie. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe that's what it's all about.
This is the gateway to something else with Mando and Grogu, because I think part of the reason why the show ended was because of some political stuff anyway. Well, that's why one of the characters got kicked off, because of some political stuff. But maybe they're gonna bring this show back or something. You know what I thought was, when they were talking about the Hutts, I thought we were gonna see Boba Fett, because Boba Fett has and there's only 2 seasons of Boba Fett. I think there's 2.
Is it even 2?
Oh, 1. Yeah, 1 season of Boba Fett. And he was kind of sort of affiliated with the Hutts, but really he was not. He was just doing what he needed to do to get by, kind of thing. And so when they mentioned the Hutts, I thought they were going to say something about Boba Fett. And they were going to maybe give Boba Fett another season, but he's not even in this. So I don't know.
Did he take over Jabba's thing on Tatooine?
Yeah, yeah, he did.
Okay, so yeah.
That's why I thought it was going to be him. So, yeah, but that didn't happen. So it's like, I can see this as like a doorway to something, but it is not telling us what that something is. And we're not, leading into whatever it is. Wherever they're trying to get us to go, we don't know where that is, and we're trying to figure it out before we go there. But what I wanted to ask everybody, there was something that I wanted to say that Marcy had said. I wanted to say something to that, but I can't remember what it is now. One thing I wanted to ask, though, now that we're talking about like story and pacing, let's shift a little bit to characters, because it kind of lends itself to characters, like the coin character. We don't have no idea why we don't know anything about the coin character. But what characters did we really like here with Mando and Grogu? Did we feel some more for that, or was that just too much cuteness for a Star Wars movie? What did we think about the characters here, and what stood out? Jen, what about you?
Well, so with Mando and Grogu, it was a good time to see that Mando is going to start training Grogu to do more. Right up to this point, he's kind of been like a toddler, a young person who can't be trusted with anything, and yet has all these powers. So every once in a while, he really steps up. So we saw Grogu as a little bit stepping up quite a bit more taking some initiative in that one of those first chase scenes. He, jumps into that little pod thing and takes care of getting around and doing some fighting and stuff. So it's good to kind of see that growing up. But in terms of some of the, there's not much going on with a lot of the other characters, right? With Coin, we didn't know who he was. He was kind of mentioned. He's been kind of mentioned in previous movies, but he's never really been, described as anything more than just, oh, here's a bad guy, but uncertain as to the nature of the badness that he does. And turns out it's not that he's not Imperial. He's not one of those kinds of bad guys. He's just, kind of a crook, kind of a cheater, kind of somebody he has this collection of all these different animals. I guess some of them are animals more so than like just different types
of humanoids.
Yeah. They're not
I did have questions on that. He's got like
heads on his wall, and he has this whole collection of things that come into that little that battle space and fight. So I think, like we've said, that we've already talked about this a lot, that there was just kind of a lot of missed opportunity as to where that's going to go. Now, Embo, on the other hand, who is the gunslinger guy, I hope that he has survived this, because he is such a great, enigmatic, quiet, scary presence, and we love to see that. I do think that leaves the door open for more Boba Fett, which I would love to see, because I think that took that character in a whole different direction and made him from a bounty hunter to a leader. So that would be something that would be really fun, especially as the Hutt Empire the Hutt, crime syndicate has fallen off and is now uncertain as to the leadership there. Rotta doesn't want it, so he's not going to be involved in that. He wants to go, do something for himself. So he's going to join he's going to go be a good guy and kind of make his way in that direction. So we love that for him. But that does mean, like I said before, when there's not a clear hierarchy of power, crime is going to move straight in there, and they are going to fill that gap. And so I think there's a real opportunity there for that. And also, I would love to see Ming Wan do more and just get her back on the screen. I think that would be great. That would be great. Let's see. In terms of some of the other characters, we didn't see a lot of them from the show, and some of those would have been great to bring in. What is that guy's name? Remember there was a whole thing with, the character name is escaping me, but I can see him clearly in my head, with the dark saber, right? There was that special, it looked like a sword, like a big long sword, and also
Giancarlo Esposito's character.
Yes.
He is
I can't think of that character.
We think that he might be dead, but we don't see that happen. So we don't.
No way is that character dead. There's no way that character is dead. So I think that would have been a cool character to kind of bring in here and make it more of a make sure that there were more bad guys that are out there. I think that's what I'm trying to say here. I think that
and have a big Vader kind of bad guy. He's Moff Gideon. That's what his name was.
Moff Gideon, yeah.
And he's kind of the Vader kind of guy.
Yeah.
We always have this big Vader guy. Yeah, and there's no big Vader guy here.
Yeah. So what's he out doing? Now I know he got crushed in the rubble or whatever, but like I said, I do feel like he's out there somewhere.
See that,
becoming something and being something. And does he have control over the Hutts? I mean, because honestly, the twins just don't seem smart enough to run a whole crime syndicate. They just don't seem that smart. So.
and see, the other thing too is, and I didn't realize this until after I went back and I watched season 3 too. With Moff Gideon, he had a lieutenant woman with him, and she ended up being captured by the New Republic, but she was kind of still bad guy, but she was trying to be a bad guy under the New Republic, so she could have she could be stepping in a void too, and maybe even trying to hurt the New Republic from the inside, kind of thing. Kind of like what I thought Sigourney Weaver was gonna do, but no.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver was definitely underutilized there. You know, she like I said, she came in for 3 days, shot her scenes, and got out of there with her check. But
definitely,
I was so happy to see her on screen because, you know, we lost Carrie Fisher. Yes. So there wasn't an opportunity to have a Princess Leia appearance and then a Princess Leia character being, you know, doing something in between, because she's still, you know, she's very much in charge at the end of Return of the Jedi. And when
she's a general.
When we get into the Force Returns, right, she's big time leader. So of the Republic. So you know, I thought that's kind of the role that Sigourney Weaver was going to kind of fill, and oh well.
Yeah.
Maybe in another one.
Maybe. Yeah. Stacy, what about you? You were going to say something about the coin non-humanoid things, I think. But what about you about characters? What did you think about the characters here?
I mean, there's no one that really like struck my fancy. Like, okay, I mean, I knew, you know, the Mandalorian and Grogu were going to be in. The only person I was like, oh, I want to see more of, I have to admit, the Hutt. What was his name?
Yes, Rotta.
I wanted to see more of him and see what his story is going to be, because I'm like, okay, so he's, you know, he's the Sirius Black of this universe. It seems like he comes from a family that doesn't, you know, the dark side, or not the dark side, but evil or whatever, and he wants to be different. And you know, or see his workout routine, because he did some work on it.
I know, right?
But also, what the thing is, when I saw the little things in the cages, for me, I was thinking, okay, that gave me the ick. I mean, I know it was supposed to, but it did, because of the fact that he's like, said something about putting Grogu in. It's like, how many of those things are not really pets, like are birds, but actually sentient beings that he has in these little cages. Just, you know, it just reminded me a little bit, you know, of how, and so, you know, during the slave period, you have kids above just waving flag, you know, waving a fan to cool. And that did just like, okay, because, you know, but by the fact that he said put Grogu in one of them, it's like, those things that might be just living beings. Free them when they left. I was like, free all these creatures, because you don't know. They could be one of, you know, just a real, you know, not a pet, you know, an animal, but a real, just because it's not humanoid in features does not mean there's not a thinking thing that I've been trapped in this little ball of a cage for 10 years. Free me.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I did, you know, when I saw that, I was like, okay, you know, what about those creatures? But it was really Rotta's character that I really enjoying just seeing how he was going. I mean, you go there for Grogu and the Mandalorian, you go there for them, but out of all the characters in the show, he's the only one I really was like, okay, let's see some growth, see how he's moving. Oh, and I don't know, I know that's not what he is, but he reminds me of the Thundercats, a pet there. The guy who was helping out Mandalorian, who was in the back, he was like the engineer guy. I did like him.
Yes, like his Chewie, his Chewbacca. I can't remember what his name is either, but he's not a Wookiee. I'm sorry.
No, he's not a Wookiee, but I like whatever, because he was like a sentient bat kind of. He reminded me of a bat. That's what he reminds me of.
Oh, he's on. Oh gosh, he was on cartoons.
Season 3. He was in season 3.
Yeah, and he was in some of the cartoons. Oh gosh, what was that guy's name?
But I liked his character. So I mean, but those are really the only things that we had any kind of real in depth of watching, if anything. Those 4 people, you know, Grogu, you know, I mean, you see the little one, the little mechanic people, but I mean, they're the Anzellans. I mean, you see them, but they're not. Anzellans? You don't know which is which. I mean, you really don't. I don't have a name to each one of those. You know, that kind of thing.
I did not.
But overall, I mean, again, to me, it was more like a buddy show western. This whole movie really was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With basically that's what it was to me, and it was like I think it could have been, again, it could have probably been something that was actually on Disney Plus and not to go to the movies. But I mean, overall, I did enjoy it, but it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that deep. They could have done this, but I did enjoy those characters. I did enjoy Rotta and that rescue, and that's that's the only character I really was like, oh, I want to see more of him. Like after, like, what is he doing in Republic after this?
Yeah, I want to see that too. Yeah.
Yep.
Marcy, what about you and the characters?
I agree with Stacy. I agree. I wanted to see more of Rotta. I was glad we got to see his character develop and him really explain his opinions and not be moved by what everybody else expected him to do, even Mando. Like, not to shift his course, because it would be second nature when everybody else was dead to be like, because I said to Stacey one time, well, isn't he technically their leader now? But being able to walk away from that and really stand strong on what he believed, I think I loved that arc. To me, the Anzellans reminded me of the Doozers on Fraggle Rock. I thought they were adorable, but to Stacey's point, I don't know one from another. The collective was adorable. That's really all I can say. But yeah, so of course Mando, the maturity of Mando's relationship, to Jen's point of being able to see, it was cute to watch him and Grogu when he had Grogu like sneaking into buildings and doing more and translating with a little bit. My favorite scene was at the food cart when Mando gives the guy the extra money. He's like, no, I can't take this. I didn't say anything. And he was like, this isn't for information. It's for his snacks. And you realize he done ate the man out of his whole cart while they were waiting.
Real quick about that one character.
But honestly, I don't know.
And I was like, when I saw his name, yes, that's him. And when I saw his name come up, I was like, who is Martin Scorsese gonna play? And then as soon as that guy started talking, he was like, I was like, yep, that's him. Yes.
Yep.
The voice clicked.
Now that you say it, the voice clicks right in. That is who that was. Yep. And so I thought those interactions were cute. I thought it was cute to see Grogu doing more. To Stacey's point, I enjoyed it. I thought the characters that we got to see were great. We didn't get to see as many as maybe we had expected, especially with all the time we had. But I think overall, Rotta's storyline was good enough to make me want to see what was going to happen with him in that part. And so I think it's just at the end when he says, I think I have a suit that will fit you, and Mando's like, no, there's not really a place for you, and then he's like, no. And I think that it was because he knew what it was like to feel different too, and so he was like, I think I have a suit that'll fit you. And I would want to see more of what happened to him. Did he make it? Where did he end up? That kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know that there were a super lot of characters to be invested in, because most of them we saw the same ones over and over, or they were referred to.
Yeah. So,
I think that was
before I get into Easter eggs, which there are a lot of Easter eggs, I'm going to do Easter eggs last, because I want to do star ratings first while we have all of you here, just in case one of you has to go. Y'all, we've been talking about this for a while. So, just to remind everybody listening out there, our ratings are based on Goodreads 5-star rating. And 1 star is we didn't like it. 2 stars, it was okay. 3 stars, we liked it. 4 stars, we really liked it. And 5 stars, it was amazing. And unlike Goodreads, you can rate in the middle. So, Stacy, what about you? What is your star rating for this one? And anything you want to point out why that you haven't talked about?
I guess my rating would be like a 2.5 to 3. And it was solely because it could have been on Disney Plus. I think it was more because you could have, those slow parts of it felt like filler, just to make it to be longer, to fit a movie, to be a movie length. I mean, I liked it, but it wasn't like anything that I would say, you know, it was not worth the matinee. It wasn't worth the price of the ticket to me for how much how much I would think it'd be more bang for my buck. But if I had something just solely just in it, it would probably be more like a 3. Like, okay, this is, I liked the movie and I would have watched it, on Disney Plus, but going to the movie theaters is like, yeah, this is a bit of a stretch for me to go to movie theaters for it after seeing it. Just because I felt that there were some parts that they just had it more for filler, and it just felt more of a continuation of the show versus something that was spectacular beyond that.
Yeah, okay. Jen, what about you? What is your star rating, and anything you want to point out that you haven't yet?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go for a 3. I'm gonna go for a 3 here. It was, it was fun. It was entertaining. It was, there were definitely, like I've said, things that I feel like were missed opportunities. But if I'm here for the blaster battles. I'm here for the little heartwarming things. I'm here for it, and yeah. So I'm gonna give it a solid 3.
All right, cool. Marcy, what about you? What's your star rating, and is there anything you want to point out that you haven't yet?
So I'm gonna give 2-star ratings. I'm gonna say, for having seen it at the movie theater, I'm gonna give it a solid 3, like Jen. But I would give it a 4 if I had been watching it at home.
Very interesting.
I don't think those things would have bothered me as much if, to Stacey's point, I hadn't paid as much as I did for a matinee ticket. If I didn't have the inconvenience of going somewhere, finding a parking spot, picking the ticket, waiting in line, being hungry but not wanting to pay movie snack prices, right? But at my house, I could have, while he was growing roots in the forest, I could have gone and gotten a snack, right? So I feel like that part of the experience, and then I think some of those other things I might not have noticed as much. That's why I think the difference is there. Like, even if it had dragged, I don't know that it would have been as impactful if I was at home. If I was watching, what I was expecting the quality to be. But when you take me to a motion picture theater, I have an expectation of motion picture quality, and I feel like here they missed the mark in a way that I feel like they might have even almost exceeded had I been watching this on Disney Plus. I'd have been like, this is a good Disney Plus. Like, this is quality programming. But when I went to the movies and paid at that level, I'm expecting more than I got. And so I think that's why I have 2 ratings. It was okay for a movie theater, but I think it would have exceeded expectations if I had been at home. If I had been in the comfort of my own home watching on Disney Plus with that same expectation of what I was getting, and thinking, oh, this is a long play version of season 4. Like, they're gonna give it to me all at once. I probably would have had a different feeling about it. And so I think that people who watch it at home and are listening to us may rate it differently than those of us who, which seem like very few, made it to see it while I was in the theater.
To your point on that, so it made a lot of money in its very first week, and then it went down 70% after the first week. So I think what happened was the fans, the whatever Star Wars fans call themselves. I don't know if they have a nickname.
Star Wars fans. Yeah.
Star Wars fans, rebels, I don't know, whatever y'all call yourselves. Yeah, those are the people that went and saw this in the first week. I'm going to give it a 3. No, I actually didn't even see it in the first week. I saw it in the 3rd week, but I only saw it in the 3rd. I saw it in the 3rd week because we were going to do this for the podcast, and I already told y'all we were doing it for the podcast. but B, because y'all know where I am in life at this point, I was able to see it during the day on a weekday and get a percentage off price for it and all of that kind of stuff. So it wasn't the $2 movie theater, but it was, it was not, a big price. Yeah,
we went on the weekend and paid weekend
I would
prices,
not
and it was
have
ridiculous.
done this, and I understand why you rated it what you rated it. If I had paid weekend prices, I would rate it that. I'm rating it a 3. Because of the situation in which I saw it, but I also, even with discount ticket, I saw it in 3D. So if you are going to the movie theater to see this, and that's what you want to do, might I suggest that you see it in 3D? Because as we know, one of the founders of Industrial Light and Magic is George Lucas, and you know how they do. I mean, it was great in 3D. It felt natural in 3D. You know, felt like natural 3D. You know how like sometimes you see a 3D movie and it's like they kind of manufactured this to put it in 3D. This really didn't need to be in 3D, but this, yes. Okay, so that's the only way I would recommend seeing this in the theater. I'm with everybody else in that this feels like a season 4 of Mando, and yeah, and I could have seen it at home. And if I had thought about all of that before, I probably would have waited for this podcast episode. But you know, I'm glad I saw it in a theater. I'm glad I got the chance to do that. I'm glad I got to see it in 3D. It was good. As far as Mando and Grogu, you know, you can never get enough of that cuteness. OMG. Just totally cute. Oh my gosh, totally cute. And I needed the total cuteness. Oh my gosh. I will say this though, when he was in that slow paced whatever, and it was mainly Grogu there, he was just so cute with everything that he was doing. When he lifted up his helmet to give him something to drink, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, is he gonna be okay?" Oh my gosh, I was having a moment. I just love the little cuteness stuff. And to me, and I guess too, because with the Mandalorian, in season 3 you see a lot more of him using his powers, but of course season 2 he's trying to get the powers in the first place, so we don't really see the powers as much as like we see with Yoda, for instance. Yoda, we know, has powers. We know Yoda is straight up powerful. With Grogu, we don't necessarily see his powers as much. What we really like about him is his cuteness. So that's why I'm giving it a 3, because I thoroughly enjoyed the story. But at the same time, to me, I agree with everybody else that this really should be a show. It really should be the next season of Mando. And I think another reason why I think it really should be a TV show versus a movie for me, when I go to the movies, I want to see one complete story. Unless I know this is going to have a sequel or something like that, it needs to be a story with no loose ends at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To me, the only like loose end here should have been Rotta. Like, then I would know, okay, we're going to see another Mando movie. We meet him at one point in his life. We see him get rescued. We see him change. He has an emotional arc, right? End of part 1 of what we see of his life. So whatever we see next is the next chapter of his life. But here, there's too many other things that are like out there. And that's like TV show behavior. And I don't like that for a movie. You know, I want it to be one full circle show. Too many questions, and I didn't like that. But to end it on our nerdy note, a few Easter eggs that stood out here, at least for me. If my guest host who's still on, I want to point out some Easter eggs that I haven't, please feel free. But a couple ones I saw, the whole cage, I guess cage match, the Rotta, the Hutt matches, though, that whole match thing, and that whole setup of that, to me, was more like an Easter egg of a combination of, I think Marcy kind of halfway mentioned it about the Hulk, Thor Ragnarok. It gave you Thor Ragnarok vibes. It also gave me, as a Trekkie, it gave me Trekkie vibes of the episode of Voyager that The Rock is on, where they do the cage match there. When Grogu gets in the little stroller thing, floating stroller, that reminds me totally of season 1 and season 2, because that's what he rides around in season 1 and season 2. The difference here is, and I think either Jen or Marcy might have mentioned it, is that, he fights in that little thing and he zooms around in that little thing, versus like in season 2, he clams up with that little thing. He's like, anytime there's a fight happening, he goes whoosh and clams up. So he's growing. You could tell he's growing. Yep. We see a lot of characters that we've seen. We've talked about these from season 2 and season 3. The Anzellans, the pilot that we can't remember what his name is for some reason.
Zeb.
Oh, okay, thank you. Zeb. Yeah. Okay. And also one of the other New Republic pilots is also from season 2. And actually causes, we kind of see a partnership kind of happening, that it ends up kind of going along in here. So we see that him being that snack thief, that's just Grogu's character throughout. I mean, he is always stealing some food. But when Rotta actually fed him some food, it made me think about, in season 3, there's this episode with Jack Black and Lizzo. And Lizzo is like, I'm going to feed him some food. And as soon as she did that, he jumped into her arms. It was so funny. Oh my gosh. But yeah, there are a lot of kind of little Easter egg things here, mostly from season 2 and season 3, which is another reason why it feels like season 4, because it just feels like an extension, and the house that we see them in is the house that the High Magistrate gave them on Navarro. So that's the same house and same land we see at the end of season 3. That's the house that they're in season 4. So it's a lot of the kind of the same things going on here that we saw in season 2 and season 3. Any other Easter eggs that y'all thought of that?
I want to go back to the Dajaric match, the cage match and everything. Y'all missed it. You guys fully missed it. That all of the creatures that take part in that, they are on the chessboard in the New Hope. When Chewie is sitting at, on the Millennium Falcon, and they play that game with the holographic, that's what that Easter egg is.
My gosh, totally.
All those characters are from there.
Wow.
Never seen it.
You are right. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
I forgot about that, but now that you said it, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that was one. I got that one when I was in the theater. I was like, oh, I know what that's from. There were some other ones too that are just kind of fun, especially if you're somebody that has seen all or most of the movies and that kind of thing. There's a character that is, what's his name? Captain Karsativa. He's one of the New Republic pilots, and he has been, when they come in at the end to like save everybody, and they kind of go from, they have this shot that they always do, where it's looking directly at the pilot as they're talking. Okay, he's in one of those. Well, he's in, I don't know, like 6 or 7 movies.
I think he's in almost all of them.
Yeah,
even when they show the pilots, he's in there.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. So he's in there, and then speaking of the pilots, when they get back to the Rebel base at the very beginning, after that first mission, and they destroy the AT-ATs and all that kind of stuff, they go into, of course, there has to be a cantina scene We're always going to have our cantina. So they go into the little cantina, and he and Zeb are talking, and there's all these other pilots in there. Mm-hmm. Those pilots are directors from the Mandalorian TV show. Mm-hmm. That's who they are. So Dave Filoni is one of them, and Dave Filoni is he's a huge guy for Star Wars nowadays, right? He's in charge of the whole thing. But he's in the final battle scene. He's one of the pilots in there, but he's also in there. He's got a hat on. He looks like I don't know what kind of hat that is, but yeah. So all those guys all have kind of been in there and played roles in the Mandalorian television show. So yeah, so that was really fun.
And I think for me, Easter egg, or at least reminded me of when Mandalorian was in the bar, or was looking for the coin, and I guess when he shot out, and I was like, okay, that reminds me of the first one of Star Wars. I mean, when Han Solo shoots, was it Guibo? When he shoots him in the whatchamacallit, so that scene reminded me of the same thing in Star Wars.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so wild. I love it. Oh God, this has been a great discussion. After I saw the movie, I was like, now are we going to be talking about cute Grogu the whole time? Like, are we going to have something else to talk about? But I'm so glad we do have something else to talk about. So I am so glad that y'all came and talked about this. And even though it wasn't on our radar, I'm glad.
It wasn't on your radar. It was all up in my radar. Yeah, I saw.
See, Jen, this is why you should be a part of making the podcast calendar, because this wasn't even on my calendar, right? So,
I got my own podcast calendar.
Yes,
that's a struggle on its own.
Yes, it is something else. I tell you, it's something else trying to make that calendar. But I'm glad that this last minute add-on garnered y'all coming on and talking about this. And I had so much fun talking about Star Wars, and now I'm going to go watch some more. Now that it... Exactly.
I might catch up on those seasons. Yep.
I'm going to recommend, if you want to see more of this, from this sort of time, Ahsoka's great. You can watch Ahsoka. That's a good series. And Andor is a really, really good series, but it takes place before A New Hope.
Yeah.
So the end of Andor. Yeah. So there's a series and there's a television show for that one. So just FYI. So the movie came out first. What was that? Rogue One was the movie
Rogue
that came
One.
out. And Rogue One ends literally at the very beginning of New Hope. So there's that one. And then the Andor television show is about the main character on Andor and kind of the backstory that got him to that place. So
yeah. So the timeline for what she just said, y'all, is Andor, then Rogue One, and then of course A New Hope. That's 4, 5, and 6. Mando is right after Return of the Jedi. Ahsoka is after Boba Fett. So it's Mandalorian, then Boba Fett, then Ahsoka, according to this. Let me make sure of that. But according to this, yeah, that's right. Mandalorian, then Boba Fett, which is only one season, and then Ahsoka after that. So that's the timeline for that.
Okay, that surprises me. I have never looked it up. I don't really know, but Boba Fett starts. I thought Boba Fett started right after, right after, within 30 daes of Return of the Jedi. I thought
you're right. Boba Fett should be right there.
Yeah.
And then Mando. Anyway, we're going off on this, but everybody, thank you for coming on. I'm glad to have you on here, and thank you for indulging me in this last minute edition of Mando and Grogu.
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Always so fun. Wonderful to see you guys.
Hi. Want to get show notes from this and future episodes in your inbox? then subscribe to Nerdy Romantics newsletter at nerdyromanticspodcast.com/subscribe. Nerdy Romantics newsletter not only has show notes, but nerdy and romantic recs and sneak peeks and exclusives of my spicy nerdy romances and love stories. I love talking sci-fi, superheroes, fantasy, and romance books, movies, and shows with my friends. So share this podcast with your nerdy romantic friends. Thanks for listening and for watching.